My name's Jeremy Starn. I'm an MFA candidate at JMU. AI has transformed photography much like photography did to the painting world in the 19th century. So it is very disruptive, but it's a new tool that artists can use to make new kinds of art. As an artist, artist and photographer, I'm always looking at new tools to make imagery. And so AI is a really interesting tool to be able to make new images because it's readily accessible. Anyone with a computer can log on and type in prompts to start making imagery. You can sort of just run the gamut of your imagination of what you want to create with it, which is super interesting. And so being able to use that as a starting off point for the sort of content creation of the imagery and then play with it in all these interesting ways, combining processes. It's really just another process to play with. So I use it as a jumping off point for inspiration or playing with ideas if I want to see how something will sort of visualize. You start with a written prompt and playing through iterations of that. It's really good at, it's a very iterative process. You start with one idea and you slowly snowball and evolve it on and on. So I use it, again, as a jumping off point to play with ideas that I have. In one particular project was creating AI images, collaging them together, feeding that back into the system, getting something new out, evolving that over and over again, and then turning it into more of a hands-on artifact again. So I print out digital negatives and then use those negatives, those AI-generated negative images, in alternative processes, such as cyanotype and gum dichromite. And so those are photographic processes from the 19th century. So it's combining those old processes with the new ones. And that's just a super interesting sort of product that comes out of that combination. So these are AI generated images that I've collaged together. So for this project, it was about the Lamb of Gods. And so I had an image prompted of a lamb in a field, and then I prompted it for an image of a galaxy, and then an image of a religious sun, and then an image of a tree, and I put those all together, made this digital negative, which is just a transparency. And then for the cyanotype, you mix the cyanotype chemicals, you paint them onto a piece of watercolor paper. It's super easy, it dries very quickly, and then you put that digital negative on top of this, expose it to sun for 10, 15 minutes, and then you develop it in water. It's one of the simplest processes to use. It comes out in a really iconic bright blue, cyan blue. So you can really recognize it whenever you see it. And it's really easy, because it's so easy to use, it's very compatible with those digital negatives that can be created using the AI programs. This is one of the very first original photographic processes from the 1850s. So again, these are all AI images that have been collaged together and then printed on watercolor paper with the cyanotype process. The images that come out of those AI models, they tend to be more sort of flat to me. They don't have a lot of, same with like a lot of photography in general is how I feel about a lot of photography in general, but they seem very illustrative or flat or unrealistic, and I really appreciate the tactileness of the photographic print. And so I'm really just turning the AI image into a print, but in the most tactile way possible, which is through these alternative processes, historical processes. The strength of using AI to generate images is its accessibility and ease of use. It's very easy to sort of conjure up different ideas to play with, and then use that imagery as a jumping off point for creating further works of art. It is sort of quirky in the sense that you don't know how it operates necessarily, and you don't know what you're going to get, but that's a lot of the fun of it. And it's the same sort of similar creative process as these historical modes of photo reproduction like cyanotype or gum dichromite, where you don't really know what's going to happen. There's a lot of trial and error and guesswork and playing around. Again, it's very iterative. And so it's actually quite similar in that you have an idea and it's just a tool to help you visualize that. If you want to play around with this, I think the best way to get into it would be to look at other examples of what other people have done. I always draw inspiration from looking at other artworks, AI artworks, and then just playing. It's a tool like any other. It's a playground. Have fun. There's no wrong way to use it. And so I started with just using simple phrases like "give me a dog with a hat on it," and then building from there. And it really snowballs. And so you can just really build on what you've been doing over and over again. Sometimes tools like AI can be seen as not coming from the person or not craft-based. But I think that's just, that argument has been applied to a lot of new ways of making art, a lot of new tools. And so it is very much a craft-based tool. It's just one that we haven't developed yet. We're still developing the craft of it. But when you look at like the leading AI artists right now, there's so much work and time and attention and artistry and craft put into those images. It's just new. And so we're still building that craft, but it's absolutely a craft. I mean, almost anything that you spend your creative time and energy on can be a craft. And so why not AI?